thanks to the support as a channel member, Kenny Gray. And thank you to today's episode sponsor, my own beautiful, sexy Do a Football merch. Available in the small logo, the big logo, and now available in even more colours. Look at all these colours. And hoodies, as you can see. Colours and hoodies. Look at them. Just so many colours, hoodies, and fat person sizes. What more could you possibly want? And don't forget as well, if you are a channel member, you get 10% off the merch through until the end of August. The discount code for that is on the channel community page. Thank you for the support with this so far. It has gone very, very well. I appreciate it massively. And yeah, continue supporting the merch the way you have been. And there'll be more soon once we've come up with some more designs. Hello and welcome to part 75 of the Tour de France. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our second knockout round games against Valencia. Since you were last with me, well, I promised you I'd get through a lot of games, and goodness me, did you get through a lot of games. As you can see, they've gone quite well. We are still, or now, I forget where we left off. We're second in Ligue, 20 points behind Paris Saint Germain. There's still a mountain to climb there over the next few seasons, but we are 4 points ahead of Monaco. It would have been even better than that if not for this little spell at the start of January. Here's a little Football Manager tip for you, boys and girls. Don't have your first choice goalkeeper, your backup goalkeeper, and your star striker all be current internationals for African teams when the African Nations Cup happens, because when you do that, you end up having to play a team that has your youth team goalkeeper in goal who just kind of flaps at things and doesn't come close to making a save. And you don't really have the firepower at the other end to, you know, outscore the opposition. So Omar and both goalkeepers spent all of January away from the club. It did lead to us panic signing a goalkeeper that's probably not any good. We did manage to turn things around, only losing the 2 games, the one against Brest, this one against Paris Saint Germain. I think by the time we got to play Bordeaux, Claverie was actually playing quite well. And we had our new goalkeeper, who we just took an absolute punt on. We didn't scout him first. He was just a young goalkeeper at Paris Saint Germain who hadn't signed a professional contract yet. He was their youth goalkeeper. So we just kind of took a risk, offered him a contract. He's 1.5 star current ability, 3.5 star potential. He is potentially a Ligue 1 goalkeeper. Did cost us £1.2 million to bring in. We now have 4 goalkeepers. But yeah, like I say, we were doing the panic signings then. In addition to that, there hasn't really been much in the way of transfers. The Alfonso deal to Penarol went through, which means Svetkovic is now our 4th choice centre-back and he's getting a little bit more game time. And I guess the big headline is the pre-arranged transfers for the summer. Ulrich Nguema being the main one, who is rejoining us in the summer on a free transfer from Newcastle. What a piece of business this has turned out to be. Came through our youth team 10 years ago now and became an established player. We sold him to Newcastle for £10 million when £10 million was an extraordinary amount of money for us. Immediately loaned him back, ended up loaning him back for 5 years. And then his Newcastle contract has expired and he rejoins us on a free transfer. He is going to become our highest paid player. There were a number of clubs in for him. We got in a little bit of a throwing money around, bribing the agent, and I think we've agreed to pay him 70 grand a week. But Atletico Madrid wanted him amongst others, and we just really, really wanted to keep hold of him. It does mean that with that and with a couple of other contract extensions we've done, notably for Fowry and Omar, who both almost left us in January. Fowry actually threw his toys out of the pram temporarily because he wanted to join Bayern Munich, but they were only offering £15 million for him. We ended up just about surviving his hissy fit. And then it got to the end of January. He was then happy to stay, signed a new contract, but on a big pay rise. Omar as well has signed a new contract on a big pay rise. So because of all of that, we've managed to use up all of that £9 million transfer budget we had, whilst only signing a £1 million goalkeeper, which has kind of ruled out the idea of buying Martin Del Palacio Langer, who's been our best player this year. However, we have been able to secure him on loan for next season. He has signed a 1-year loan extension where we're paying him next to nothing. So Del Palacio Langer will be with us next year. We've already got Magothu and Milinkovic joining us permanently this summer, in addition to Nguema. Gonzalez has also extended his loan. He'll be back with us next season without us having to pay any of his wages. So those three coming in permanently, those two rejoining on loan. The only one that's going to get away from us is Ibrahim Millet, because believe it or not, Brentford kind of want to use him. They spent all that money on him last year, and they've come into the Premier League. They have spent big in the Premier League, but I mean, he was the biggest, and I think they kind of do want to use him next year. So we are preparing for life after Millet. It's going to be a shame because he's kind of broken into the team, established himself as a striker option this year, with Benavides just nailed on as our starter on the left wing. We kind of rotate Millet and Omar up front. So I think we probably are going to have to go out and get a new striker this summer. Di Girolamo, I'm kind of giving up on at this point. I don't think he's going to do a Benavides, so we'll probably sell him this summer. We lose Millet this summer. So if and when we get any kind of transfer budget, which kind of depends on Champions League qualification, I think, we need to go out and try and buy another striker in the Omar, Benavides, Millet role to fill that gap. Obviously, Manktolo is going to come through as well. And then it just all becomes about saving up to eventually buy Del Palacio Langer, which is still very much part of the plan, because that's not the one I'm trying to click, because he is still very much our best attacking force. I mean, our transfers this last year or so have been excellent. Capital coming in with 7 goals and a 7.68 average. Langer, 22 goal contributions in 30 matches and a 7.5. And Benavides, I mean, nobody, even I didn't expect this to come out of Benavides this season. I don't know what's got into him. I'd probably be inclined to drug test that boy. And Omar's now started scoring again, having returned from the African Cup of Nations. But both him and Millet, both scoring plenty of goals, very good goal returns, very good players. We can just rotate them nicely at the moment. And like I say, use Omar a little bit more sparingly, because he's going to play a lot more football next year when Millet's not here. So all that being said, the focus is now on Valencia in the Europa League. They are third in La Liga. They are a very good side, but we've beaten some very good sides this year, and we want to qualify for the Champions League one way or the other. We're looking good in Ligue 1. We've already played Monaco and Paris Saint Germain in the second half of the season, beating Monaco and getting that defeat against Paris Saint Germain when we had the youth team goalkeeper in. So fingers crossed we don't have any other major tests in the league. So I'm kind of going to let the league bubble away in the background for now. We're not going to really focus on the league today and hope that that takes care of itself. And the focus now is on trying to win the Europa League, or at least get a little bit further into it than we already are. So this is our team for the first leg, the away leg against Valencia. We've got Magothu in goal, a back four of Simon, Capital, Bertrand and Frey. Milinkovic at the base of the midfield, where he has kind of kept that role. I suspected he would. I mean, who do you drop out of those three to let Thomas back in the team? We have kind of done the same thing with Thomas as we did with, what's his face, Matsima last summer, where we've probably held on to him a year too long if we're going to maximise how much we sell him for. We turned down, I think, a £12 million offer for Thomas last summer for a man who's now 31. We're not going to get those kind of offers for him now. He's a backup player, but I'm not that upset about it. But this is our midfield three for the foreseeable, especially if we can sign Langer permanently. The other two, of course, already under permanent contracts: Milinkovic, Fowry, and Del Palacio Langer. And then the front three: Benavides on the left, and Nguema on the right, Millet up front. And don't worry, Afkir Omar is there on the bench, ready to come on if we need him. As you can see, we played him in the last game. And that's kind of what we do now. We just rotate them one game to the next. And if one of them goes on a little run where they get a hat-trick, they might stay in the team for a match. And then we'll just rotate them again. I know there'll be the school of thought amongst you down in the comments section who wouldn't be playing Millet in this situation because he's not our player. What's the point of developing a player for Brentford? I'm more of a mind of the guy scoring almost a goal a game, just like Omar is. For years, you've complained that I don't rotate my players. I'm rotating them this year. Omar's not upset about the lack of football. So as long as the Omar's not getting upset, let's save him some games now and cash him in a little bit later on in his career. We didn't want to concede an early goal like this. This isn't ideal. I haven't even finished doing my little intro. We've already conceded the first goal. Maybe we're not as good as sometimes I think we are. I mean, the league table shows just how far behind Paris Saint Germain we are. We talked about it a little bit in one of the previous episodes. I don't know where we stand in European football. I know we're not as good as Paris Saint Germain. I now know we're better than Newcastle, who are a mid-table Premier League team. I have no idea where we compare to a team or a third in La Liga. Valencia, for example. We're going to learn a lot today where we currently stand and how next season in the Champions League might go, assuming we get there. But it's not been the best of starts. That being said, if we end up losing 1-0 in this away leg, we'll be pretty chuffed with that. That's not too bad in a European knockout game. You always feel confident coming back to your own ground and overturning a narrow deficit like that. So I'm not worried just yet, but we'll see how the game develops. There's a lot of players in this team who I'm looking at Thierry Rendell Correa at right back, who I know is outstanding for my Everton team in the network game over on Twitch. To the point where he's much younger in that than he is here. We're only 3 years in the network game, and he's already in the Premier League Dream 11. He's that good. So the fact that they've got a player like that in their team suggests they're probably a little bit above where we are. But Fowry is in, and Fowry has got the equaliser. It's a wonderful pass from Benavides from out of nowhere, really. He's very deep and very wide on this left-hand side. It didn't even look like he looked up. He's just taken the ball from Simon with his back to goal, and then without even looking, he knows where Fowry's going to be, plays it to him, lands it on a sixpence, and Fowry is there to apply the finish. 1-1. Oh, how we wish we still lived in a world where away goals were a thing in Europe, because that goal would have been even more meaningful if we still lived in that universe. But alas, we don't. But you know what? Drawing, better than losing. That's my football analysis insight for the day. They've got a player called Damien. You know I love a player called Damien. Anyone who was watching the Greek Odyssey a few years ago, probably the save on the channel most similar to this one, for those of you looking for something else like this. We had a player called Damien there, who was great. I think we've given away a penalty here, which... It's not a penalty. I take back my... We're fine. Is that Bruno Fernandes? That can't be the Bruno Fernandes, right? He's not still playing at this point. He's not young enough to still be playing for... I've got to click on him. Is it? He's 38 years old. Wow. A 38-year-old Bruno Fernandes in their team as well. I've clicked on him as well. He's probably going to score, which is problematic. He's hit that free kick into the danger area, but Capital, all 6'7" of him, has headed it clear. But it is Valencia pressing on us again and looking for this second goal. And that is a wonderful saving tackle from Simon. Unfortunately, as is so often the case in Football Manager, the saving tackle just deflects the ball straight into the path of an opposition player, and they've hit it beautifully and beaten Magothu from quite some range. But that's a great tackle from Simon, but there's nobody anywhere near it for the second ball, and Magothu a little bit off his line there, I think, and it's almost been floated above him rather than curled round him, and it does maintain the 1-goal lead that Valencia had earlier in the game, or reinstate the lead, I guess. It's not... Can't maintain something that had gone away, surely. Del Palacio Langa plays it into Benavides, and Rendell Correa has brought him down in the penalty area there. He's on a yellow card as well. We could potentially be getting a second yellow card and a penalty out of this, and they could lose one of their best players. I'll take the penalty. I don't even need the guy to be sent off, but we do have the penalty. I don't think he hasn't picked up a second yellow card, but it's going to be, it's usually Nguema. It is Nguema to take the penalty to draw us level again, and he does. Of course, going to be rejoining us in the summer as a permanent tour player. He'll never leave again now. He's a tour boy for life, and he's just scored a very, very important goal for us to keep us well in this fight, in this second knockout round in the Europa League. Right, we're looking at players. There's no one particularly tired. Millet's not having the best of games, though, so it's an easy change to bring Afkir Omar on for the last 20 minutes to see if he can get a little bit more joy out of this Valencia defence. The last thing they're going to want as they start to tire is Afkir Omar charging at them, but they're less worried about what we're doing to them, and they're just going to keep scoring goals of their own. We've not defended brilliantly today. Magothu, I don't think he's even got his shorts wet. He's just, the ground might not be wet. He's not even got his shorts dirty. Don't talk to me about wet shorts. It's all fine. But he's just kind of dropped to his knees there. Doesn't want to get the washing on. You've still sweated in them. They're still going to need washing. Start diving for these chances. Goodness me. Right, Benavides is very, very tired. Christopher Robin can come on for him. And Simon is also tiring. And we don't really have anyone to come on for him. I guess we bring Svetkovic on here and stick Bertrand out to left back, which we've done a few times. It shuffles the defence around a little bit, which can go one of two ways, really, but they're not defending brilliantly at the moment. So let's give Svetkovic a little bit more European football exposure. I said I'd be happy losing 1-0. I'm pretty happy losing 3-2. It's only a 1-goal difference. We've shown we can score against them. Now we just need to turn things around in the return fixture. But in the meantime, off camera, hopefully go beat Lyon and keep ourselves in the hunt for Champions League qualification for next year. Well, that game against Lyon wasn't ideal. Typical in between two important matches, bottle job match. We absolutely dominated them. Look at the state of those match stats. When I say we dominated them, I do not exaggerate. We absolutely dominated them. They didn't even have a shot on target, but it did end up 0-0. We did start Omar, as you can see. Worryingly, Benavides went off injured in that match. He's going to miss the next couple of weeks, which means he misses this game. So Omar's going to stay in. Millet is going to come back into the side on the left-hand side of midfield. Other than that, this is the same team that you saw play in the first leg. We are 1 goal down. Let's try and win a football match, shall we? If we win, there's a very good chance we'll be through into what I think is the quarter-final coming up next, and we'll have taken one of the better teams left in the competition, presumably, because if you're third in La Liga, you're one of the best teams in Europe, surely. And that gives us more of a gauge of where we are. They might not be Paris Saint Germain level, but are we Valencia level? That would be a lovely thing to find out. But it's been a very, very quiet start to the match, to the point where the combined XG of the two teams in this first half so far is 0.15. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like it. We are offering absolutely nothing going forward, but neither Valencia. They seem content just to be here defending their 1-goal lead, and we're struggling to break them down. We're going to have to try something different in this second half if things don't start to open up early on, although we have got a highlight here to start off the second half, which is, it's a novelty compared to what we had to put up with in that first half. There's always a chance, of course, when you've got a 6'7" goal-scoring centre-back like Capital, all we really need is a corner. If we can get a corner, that's our route back into the game, because you always back us to do well at set pieces. But the only highlight of the game so far has gone to them, although there is another highlight here. It's us knocking the ball around at the back, which always terrifies. Del Palacio, Langer back to Capital, and now Fowry, and the ball over the top, looking for the run of Omar. That's not the right pass to play to Omar, but Millet does play it into his feet. Omar does well to keep hold of the ball and plays a beautiful pass for Del Palacio, Langer, and it's straight at their goalkeeper. But we now have that corner that we were speaking of. Capital has gone forward. He's going to be lurking at that near post. Oh, and he does get onto the end of it. He was at the far post, actually. He does get onto it, but can't direct it goalwards. It remains 0-0. But that shows just how... that's all we need. We need a couple of chances like that, and we'll be right back in this. And Nguema now gives it to Frey in a very familiar position for Frey. Plays it inside to Nguema, back to Frey again, and there is Omar, and it's a lovely little cushioned header past the goalkeeper. It's perfectly placed. You don't need to head it with oomph from there. You don't need to be a great big strong boy. Omar's only 5'9", but it's a deft little flick of a header to place it in the only spot that would make it past the goalkeeper. It's perfect from Omar. Great work from Nguema and Frey on the right-hand side, which that just kind of goes without saying. Those two are always so good on that right-hand side. And while I'm still waxing lyrical about our goal, Valencia go up the other end and grab one of their own. I'm hoping this is one of those Football Manager free kicks where everyone's offside and it's going to get disallowed. We're with the VAR and it is disallowed. Excellent. Let's look at the replay. Are they all offside? I bet they're all offside. Look at it. Football Manager, you can't be doing this in FM23. There's 5 players offside there. It happens far too often. I know you do get instances like that in real life. Not as often as we see them in Football Manager, though. Right, I am looking at these players. thinking they're doing very well. Let's not mess with it too much. Frey is tiring, so Gonzalez can come on for him. But we don't need to make substitutions for the sake of making substitutions here. Valencia haven't had a shot on target yet in this match. Del Palacio Langer is tired, though. So we are going to bring on Thomas for him, swap Milinkovic into that role. And I think Nguema can be the other one who comes off, who is also tiring. Only 3 substitutions allowed in this tournament, of course. And fingers crossed, we don't throw things away from here. Obviously, if away goals were a thing, this would be enough to see us through to the next round. As it is, it's extra time, which I think means another substitution. But we do still need to score another goal as well. We've got Manktalo, Svetkovic, and Vaquero on the bench. I don't know that any of these boys are proper game changers. But you know what? We are gonna put a lot of faith in Travis Manktalo here, who plays better as an inverted winger rather than an inside forward. He's had quite a lot of football in this second half of the season. We are putting a lot on him now to come on and show that he's ready to be part of this first team squad next year. Of course, Millet leaving, Manktalo's performances are really going to be the thing that decides whether or not we need to go and sign a replacement or not, or whether we're happy with him being the one competing with Benavides on the left here, and maybe Benavides deputising for Omar up front when needed. Can we grab a goal, please, boys? Are we really just letting this go to penalties? Of course it's going to penalties. I don't pick my own penalty takers. What do you think I am? Team talk, don't even want to know. Just go out there, do a football, boys. This is all I can ask from you. What we've learnt here today is we are as good as Valencia. It doesn't really matter if we win the match. It doesn't really matter if we win this tournament. We're not out to win the Europa League. We're here for the Champions League. And what we know is we should be able to compete in the Champions League next year. Once we start competing in the Champions League, we can start creeping ever so slowly closer towards Paris Saint Germain and our ultimate aim of being the biggest club in France. It's still going to take a while, but I feel like we're getting closer. And of course, we know Magothu has previous for being awesome in penalty shootouts. He didn't quite get his fingertips to that one, though. 2-2 with 2 penalties taken each, and it's Capital to step up. Scored a lot of goals this year. Don't think any of them have been with his foot, though. Can he stoop down and head this? Doesn't need to. Just kicks it really hard. 3-2 to us. Pressure back on Valencia, because Magothu's surely got at least one save in him in this shootout. We've seen enough of him to know he should get at least one save. The question is, will their goalkeeper as well? It's Afkir Omar now. Surely, with all the goals this man's scored over the years, he's not going to miss, is he? I daren't look. There we go. He does score 4-3 to us again. And all eyes back on Magothu. There's no pressure on him. We're not expecting a save. But we're kind of expecting a save because we've seen him do it so many times before, and he gets very close to that one as well. Oh, goodness me. And now Fowry for the final penalty. Very close to leaving us back in January, but is now committed to us for another 4 years. Fowry scores. Are Valencia going to score their 5th penalty, or is this tightest of tight ties going to be going to sudden death? I mean, effectively, sudden death starts right here. If Magothu makes the save, we're in the quarterfinal of the Europa League. The Valencia player steps up. Come on, this is your moment. You've had a few iffy moments in recent episodes. Show everyone we'll take it. The post makes the save, and Tor are in the quarter-final of the Europa League. We've dealt with Valencia. We kept it tight in the first leg. It was even tighter in this second leg, but we kept a clean sheet. We grabbed the goal when we needed to, and we kept our nerve in that penalty shootout. Money flowing in as well, which is always very welcome. And we continue our European adventure. We don't know who we're going to play. I don't know who's left in this. Everton, Brest are still in it. Bayer Leverkusen, Inter Milan, Athletic Bilbao, West Ham and Newcastle. I tell you what, boys and girls, bearing in mind we've already beaten Newcastle 4-0 away this year, and we know we're better than Brest, and we've just beaten Valencia. I mean, Inter are a threat. I imagine Bayer Leverkusen are a threat. But we could potentially win this. That looks winnable. There's no one terrifying in there. This is winnable. Let's come back and try and win it tomorrow. Well, we can't win it tomorrow. What we can do is try and get into the semi-final. Because of that, I'm not actually going to show you our 6th consecutive French Cup semi-final. If we get to the final, I'll show you that. But I think we can probably assume we lose again there. we see the semi-finals every year. You know how they go. You know how matches against Paris Saint Germain go. So in the interest of keeping the series rolling along, we'll do the quarter-final tomorrow and see what happens there. And obviously, hopefully, keep pushing with our Champions League qualification in the league as well. So we'll be keeping one eye on that for sure. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.